Hello everyone, and welcome to hear out this video explanation on Overleaf. Um, During the first 2 weeks of the semester, a lot of you have asked me about Overleaf, and after talking to many of you, I realized that Overleaf might be a not so well-known tool for students. That's why I decided to record a session and go through some of the basic information with you with regards to Overleaf. And maybe this will give you the baseline and the kickoff start to write your reports for this semester. So let me just share my screen and we'll take it from there. The first thing you need to do is to create an account in Overleaf. So you can go to overleaf.com, and I highly recommend for you to create an account using your UTS email address, because that's the one where I would actually send you the invite to join a template. Now, I already created one account, so let's just log in. When you are going to log in, you are actually going to land up into a welcoming home page. So it should actually look something like that, where you have all the projects tagged or your own created on the left, and this is just a list of the ones that you are working on. So ideally, in like if you want to kind of like test and create a new project, you would go to new project, blank project, or an example project, and so on. There are some templates for journal articles or book articles and so on. Let's just pick one, but anyway, you will receive an invitation, so um, uh, definitely you will follow what's in there because probably will be easy for you. So there are several types and formats that you can actually choose from. Let's just find a simple one that is kind of like single column. So this is actually an example of a journal with double column. So it's a little bit complicated for the beginners. So I would just say not use something like that. But anyway, I'm just going to use this as an example. So let's just say I want to open this as a template. What's happening is that Overleaf now will open that template and will create my environment. The way this works is that you'll realize the screen is divided in multiple parts. So let me start here with the left side part. So this is actually a file that has been created as the example new dot text. So actually what you want is always look for this dot text kind of extension, because this is actually the main LaTeX file where you will write your information. When you click on it, actually, you'll realize that here in the middle panel, there is some code that is being generated, and this, for example, this is a document class, which is a journal. It has a later paper format and so on. So, and you will realize there are also some comments probably that might not give you a lot of indication, but that's not a problem. So what we call this part is actually the main body of a LaTeX document where you need to, for example, write LaTeX command in order to be able to generate a section or a title or a figure into your final document. Now, on the right side, as you can see, there is the PDF that is being generated based on the text that you input here in the middle screen. So in order to be able to change this template, you would actually not have to do much, but double click, let's say, on the title of this PDF here, right? If you double click on it, you will see that the LaTeX command is actually kind of jumping to the location of the title. So see, for example, you have a little command / title where it's written template for preparing your submission, blah, 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 blah. So actually, you will need to replace titles of the document with your own, right? So you will say, um, I don't know, literature review on, assuming that you're doing a literature review, or if you're doing something. So you would write your title here. Immediately after that, you will save. So you can either press Control Save, or you can press the green button at the top, which is called Recompile. And immediately you will see that your PDF has changed now. So all of a sudden you have what you have written in there as a title appearing here, literature review on. The same thing, you would write your author in the slash author kind of like section, and you would give your name, say Ed Sheeran. And then basically this will appear here, and so on. The same thing goes on and on. So say, for example, you want to edit the abstract, you would just click on the either here on the PDF, and it will jump to here, begin abstract, and you will see that each kind of like abstract always has a beginning and an end, and inside you actually write your abstract. So I'll just write something. This is just an example uh, abstract. Again, when you Control S, it's going to change all of this information here with the new abstract. And that's great, right? So you do the same thing. If you want to insert a new section, you simply either, delete what's inside and you replace with your own, or you can create a new section. So say, for example, I want to create now a new section, slash section, and I say new section. And then underneath it, you enter, today is Monday, I don't know what you need to write for your project. So eventually, this will appear, right, as this, like it will automatically combine, etc. So that's basically the standard across all of this. What you will actually see on the left side is some sort of a file outline. So file outline is actually based on what kind of like sections you have introduced. So for example, every time you write slash section, it will appear here. So this is the one that I created earlier, slash section, new section, and it's just appear here, and so on. So eventually anything you do, it's going to appear here as a file outline, which is really great, because what's happening when you have long documents, it's not really practical to just scroll back and forth through the text, and you can actually just click on the file outline. It will jump to the LaTeX text, and you can actually use as well this kind of like arrows here. So say, for example, this arrow, it will jump to this kind of line 22, which is exactly like this one, right? So you can use that, or you can navigate further into the PDF, double click, and it will jump into the LaTeX. So as you can see, you have three ways of navigating through the documents. Either you use your file outline, click on the PDF, and then go to the compile the LaTeX and then go to the PDF, or the other way around. Click on the PDF, go into the LaTeX, and then go into the outline. All right, so that's mainly the navigation. And here, for example, you will see up at the top that you have other files that are being generated. In general, I wouldn't recommend you modifying. So in the template that you will receive, do not change BSDs or CLC documents, because those ones are actually the format and the shape of your kind of like template. So don't need to mess up with those. But you will also see there is a file that is called assay example bib. Now, if you click on this one, you will realize that there are some kind of weird items in here. So this is what we call a bibliographic LaTeX reference, and they have different styles. So say, for example, this follow a MISC, miscellaneous kind of format. This one follows an article format, which has author, title, journal, year, and note. This one is simply a tech report. It has more information. This one is a book. This one is a PhD thesis. It depends. So let's do a simple exercise, and then show you, for example, how you can insert bibliography into your document. For that to happen, you would have to go back to your text document. So let me just navigate at the top here, and I will basically, let's see that I want to edit the practical application section. In this one, say for example, I want to reference a new kind of like paper or a new source that I found online. How am I going to do that? So first, let's do a simple exercise of searching for a new piece of information online. So let me just drag this one. Because you are UTS students, you will have access to Google Scholar. So you can actually go to Google Scholar and search for papers, or you can actually go to Science Direct, which is a massive kind of like scientific bibliography. Or you can go to UTS library. As UTS students, you should have access to this one. So have a look into the information around the UTS library and basically how you can go and search for databases of papers or journals, etc. So I highly encourage you to use as many possible kind of sources. There is Scopus as well. Scopus is another kind of like online library of um, digital and academic library of all sorts of works. Now, I mean, they all work the same. Eventually, what you need to do, especially students that are working on a literature review, you will probably have to go through several of these um, libraries, online digital libraries, and find the works that are relevant to your work. So say, for example, I want to search on Google Scholar. Let's say my topic is around electric vehicles, right? So electric vehicles. And you basically need to use keywords that are as much as possible related to your field of research. So, I mean, if you type something very vague or general, you'll get a lot of results, right? So, say for example, if I just type like electric vehicles, I'm going to have a lot of works that are being generated. So eventually you can filter in the last 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, etc., and only see those ones. I recommend using, for those of you that are doing literature review, you might want to look to a larger kind of like a time span, maybe 10 years. For those of you that are not doing literature review, but need to write just an introduction part with related works to your topic, then I recommend you look into the last 5 years, let's say. So you can actually filter what you like from, I don't know, 2020 up to 2025, let's say. And then eventually this will be filtered out. Now, of course, the more kind of like pointed your topic is, you need to use other keywords like battery electric vehicles or plug-in, or am I interested maybe in charging, or maybe am I interested in the grid or the energy management side of things. So try to use keywords that are closely related to your field as possible. So assuming that we have found something that it's interesting, so by the way, the same thing you can do on all sorts, right? You can type on Science Direct, the same thing, library, Scopus, all of them. Um, so let me just stay with Science Direct. Let's see what they gave me. The same thing, you can put filters in Science Direct as well. So let's stay with Science Direct. What is the first one that I got? Access changes in electric vehicle users behavior, comparison between 2018 and 2021. Hey, that's a nice one. So what you want to do basically is go into this paper and basically try to access its LaTeX reference in bib format. So you will see, I mean, there are various tools. For students undergrad in general, I don't go into a lot of details like Mendeley and other kind of like library processing tools, simply because it just requires an extra learning and effort. However, for undergrads and master students, I simply recommend that you look for the citation kind of like button indication. So you will see that Science Direct has this cite field, and you can actually click on it and export citation to bib text. That's what we want. So we want to export the citation in bib text. Now, let's say I'm clicking on this bib text, and all of a sudden I am actually um, going to download it into, let's say, a folder. I'm going to show you that. Okay, maybe I'll just do one. Let's say um, test folder, um, or maybe I'll just write it Overleaf bib, which is a folder with all the bib text files that you can either save it there, or you can simply you name it as you like, or given the fact that, say for example, this is a 2025, um, you can look at the first author, Ding Song Kui, let's say, so you can modify that by 2025. Let's say main author is Kui, and then assess changes in EV user. All right, so you can give changes in EV usage. Okay, cool. Let's save this .bib file. And after you save it, I actually recommend just to open it. You can double click on it. You can just open with whatever editor you have. And once you open it, you will see that this is the format. So if you remember here in the template, if we go back to the .bib document, you will see it has something similar, right? So it's exactly something similar. Now, what you will need to do is actually take this reference, this bib text format of this reference, and you will need to copy and paste it here in this bib file. Okay, I'm just going to paste it here at the end. After I finished all the other references, I'm just going to paste it here. And as you can see, I already have new information coming into my bib. I'm saving. I think that's important to save. He will try to do a recompile, but don't worry about it. And then eventually what I want in my text to be able to reference this article. As you can see here, this article has some sort of official ID that is written after the first accolade starts. So the reference is basically at article, and inside the accolades you have this official kind of ID. So we need that. So make sure you control this ID. And you go then to your text file. So where do you want to reference that? So let's just say that a recent study um, um, on EV adoption was published in, and then you want to give this reference back to the file so it knows where to look at. What you do is you actually use a command which is called ref, and oh sorry, which not references, cite, um, and here inside this accolade, you are actually pasting the ID of the file that you want to use. Then you save your document and it will automatically recompile. As you can see, after it finished, you have the new text. A recent study on EV adoption was published in Kui et al. That's how it basically is referenced in, that's how it is referenced in the main text. And you just, if you click on it, it will jump at the end of the document here in the list of references, who by the way happen to be ordered like in alphabetically. So you will see that it was added here. Some libraries have ordering, numerical ordering. It depends on what style you are going to use, but that's not an issue. Okay, great. So we finished learning how to insert a reference um, in our LaTeX file. So everything is good so far, and you can keep going with like new papers that you find in order to build your database. In order to structure, you will see that here you also can create new folders. So let me just say I want to create actually two folder. I want to create a bib folder. Um, let me just, yeah, maybe say bib. If you want to store all this kind of like bib files that I downloaded, you can actually store them and then eventually just drop them from your PC or from your folder, right? So you can simply, I'm going to drop here the reference that I saved earlier. And once you upload it here, it's going to be saved. And when you click on it, you can see it individually like that. So this is also good for storing and organizing your work with regards to all this kind of like um, all these bib files. I also recommend you create another folder, and this folder is called images. So let's create another folder, images. And let's say that I want to add in these images something that I need, right, for my research. So, all right, let me just find a test image, as I would say. And I will try to upload this image in here. 1 second. Da-da-da-dum. Either you generate an image or etc. So I have this image is called capture.jpg about the Sydney train network, right? So what I'm going to do is I am going to upload it here into this folder, images, and it's going to appear here. Now, after this happened, I want to reference this image inside the text file. So I'm going back to the text file, and I am actually going to find a place where I need to insert it or where I need to talk about it or, whether I need to upload it. Now, this is in order to do that, there is a specific LaTeX code to insert figures, and this is based on either online references that you have or the ones that I'm going to give you. So I'm probably going to give you one that looks like this. 1 second. So you will probably receive so I gave you two examples of a literature review overleaf document. So in the guidelines for undergrads, if you click here in the what type of work you will do during the semester, you will see there is a link around Overleaf. So this is an example of a literature review that has been previously done. And there is another example, by the way, of a technical project work. This is more hands-on. So for people that need to work with data, that need to generate results, and that need to create a lot of things. So I'm going to, okay, let me just use this one, the technical project report. So if you are scrolling through it, you will see that when we need to insert figures, so let's say I need to insert this figure, right? If you double click on it, you will see that it jumped actually to a LaTeX code which begins with /begin figure and with figure. So for your case, you're just going to use this type of kind of chunk of text, and you're going to go back or stay in the same report, and you will paste it where you need. So for example, I pasted in old section, and inside this kind of begin figure and figure, you'd have some comment to include the graphics. You'll see often there is a scale, whether it needs to be trimmed. This one, for example, it needed a little bit of a trimming. Some others don't require trimming at all. It depends. So there are different styles for inserting figures. Let me find you another style. This one, for example. it has another style. What I'm going to do, I'm probably going to give you both styles and you're going to choose based on what you're doing, whichever it's working for you. So this one, for example, let's say it's centered. First of all, that's the most important. And as you can see, it has after you include the graphic with a specific scale, trimming or not, you need to tell it where it needs to look into. So this image is actually the name of the folder of the images, and this is the name of the figure. Now, what I have in this one, it's actually capture.gpg. So basically, you just have to either copy paste it or use this one and add the caption, right? So what is this figure telling me? I think mine was something like Sydney train network info. Uh, once you once you save it, you will see that it will generate a figure next to it if it finds the figure. Now, have a look here. So let me just go to the old section. And did it jump? It probably jumped later on. Yeah. So if you do not tell the figure to stay where it is, it might jump. So for example, after begin figure, you have this H index, which says here, and if you give it like an exclamation mark, it will stay put in general. So let me say I want it to be stay here, exactly in this old section, and for some reason it doesn't want to. That's not nice. All right. Let's try tell this to be at the top, HT. I tried to look at the top, but still at the beginning of my document. So this is a little bit of a stubborn kind of like figure. Um, and you will see that I'll just get back to this one in just one second. It probably it's because of the scale or because of the format of the um figure. I will also have a look at the this other one. As you can see, this one, right? It included it has also a scaling index, but no information on trimming, and it has directly a name. The problem is if you just give it a name and don't tell where it is in the folder, it will not know. So eventually you need to tell, hey, look in this folder, right? So you'll, hey, look into the folder of images and then look here for this kind of like figure. However, because we only have capture.jpg, you will get an error. So if you actually click here, you will see when you compile, just click on this kind of error and you will see that there are kind of like a lot of alerts and missing information. So, hey, uh, missing control sequence or parameters must be numbered correctly, etc. So there are quite a few error. However, definitely some of them it indicates that um, the file that you're trying to insert was not found. So you actually need to go and really upload this. So let me go and upload a second photo, a second image. um, all right, which I might use this one or I might use a PDF. Depends. Let me use maybe let me use maybe a figure that looks more in a PDF format. So let me just try to show you, for example, this one, collision by year. So I'll try to import it in the other document, collision by year. All right. You can actually download it, put it into your working folder. If you have Overleaf bib in there, if you basically have, I'll now show you another trick Overleaf images. Just this is something saved outside of Overleaf, just temporary saving. So let's just save it here and collision by year .pdf. So I'm going back to my document and I am actually going to upload it here, right? So let me just find it. Where were you? Tuck, 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 tuck. All right. Collisions by year. All right, so I'm uploading a figure which is actually in PDF format, and that's how I recommend all students to generate their images, and I will explain immediately the difference. So this one, for example, is so I would avoid GPG PNGs. These are kind of like rasterized flat images, as we call them, and will give bad quality when reading or when transforming into different formats. So use GPGs only for like drone sketches or some snapshots, snippets, but I don't recommend to use, for example, this type of rasterized images when you have like analytics. So say, for example, when you do bar charts or when you do some sort of like um, all sorts of like plotting in general, results plotting, try to convert your image into a vectorized format. Vectorized format means that even if you zoom out into high detail, it will show you each point, each line in that figure. So I highly recommend you using a vectorized format. So now let's say that I am actually going into this, I really want to use this figure, the collision by year.pdf. uh, and I just want this name actually. I just want its name and I want to reference it here, right? So in this image selection, duck collisions by year PDF. It has a caption already. Um, um, Let me just like make it simpler. Selection criteria process for some publication comparative. And it has a label. And this is something that I want to say immediately. I'm going to use this label. Attention, if the figure is not generated by you, you need to have permission to use that figure into your report. So say, for example, here I'm looking at this paper and this paper maybe has this figure. If you want to download this figure and put it into your report, in general, it's not allowed, right? So it's basically, you can reference this paper, but you cannot replicate or like reuse the same content like they did without giving kind of like either acknowledgements. So this figure was generated by this paper. So you need to cite where it was generated, and you basically kind of like say exactly that I got it from this report. However, for images generated by you, like this one, collision by years, that's fine. You can put as many as you want, right? Another special category is the images generated by AI. I don't recommend using that for copyright issues, all sorts of problems that you might encounter. You can do it for your own kind of like fun, but when it comes to like scientific, official kind of like report, we need to be very careful when it comes to our own IP, our own generated content, and we need to make sure that that's ours. So, all right, going back to this one. So what I was trying to do, yes, insert this figure just to show you. So, and this one has not been centered. Let's send, well, okay. Let's see if we don't center how it looks like. And then we have a caption in there and we have a label. So the label can take any form. So this, for example is something with figure to dot selection something something. And you can say figure 1, doesn't really matter. Okay, all right, let's compile the document and see whether this second figure was collected or not, or it's still being pushed towards the end. Yep, so this one was not processed. I think the template, this one does not have the does not have the references, like the formatting for figures. That's why it jumps. So what it means that in general, if you realize that your figures are not being read correctly, what you need to do is look at the packages that you're using. So the packages need to be kind of like complete. So say for example, this one, where is it? So let's go to this one in temp.x, sorry, main.x. And this one has yeah, basically a lot of packages for images. So that's why when I'm going to send you the information, I'm going to give you this template, which is already kind of like nice filtered with all the packages. Otherwise, if you use a package from scratch, you have to insert yourself all this kind of like graphic visualization packages, external, right? So that might be a little bit tricky. So I don't want you to spend time on that one, right? So eventually you will have to just use kind of like the template that is working. So for example, this one, where basically you have a figure and you recompile it and it's being generated. So definitely each LaTeX template is different. So if you basically encounter this type of issue, you kind of either go through the errors, right? So it actually says collisions by year dot PDF not found. Let's have a look. Well, was one S missing. Let's see whether it read it now. Okay, so no float option H. So again, this kind of LaTeX document doesn't have, for example, the here command to kind of like insert figures, which can also be something weird. So as you can see, yep, no more errors in this document. And then this one, yep, it was put here. As you can see, this command was not enabled, which means that my figure is not centered. And you will see that it looks a little bit tilted. So I don't like that. So let me just get rid of this one and let me up center my my figure, the one that I like. Okay, I think that's all good. Let's so let me just take this one. Eventually, if you want to reference, right? So let's say, and by the way, this one, see that it's chunked because there is some trim that is happening. So if you don't have to trim figures, don't do it. Basically, you just let them kind of like normal. So let's say I would like this figure in a scale of 0.45, which is almost half of the width of the column. Ah, okay, that's so much better. I'm so much happy with that. And then you can even put 0.5, sorry, 0.5, and it's going to be increased. Cool, even better. All right, so assuming that you want to be able to reference this figure in the text, so let's say you want to talk about them. As you can see, one of them doesn't have a label. This one has a label. The issue is if you leave the figure like that without a label, it's hard to talk about it in the text. So I don't recommend it. So say, for example, I want to reference this figure, right? So let's just say main results are presented in, and now I want to be able to reference this figure. You will use a command which is called ref. And inside this, you will need to give the ID of this figure that you put here under label. So as you can see, mine is fig under one. I'm just going to choose this one. And then let's see how it looks like. So I'm compiling, and if I'm jumping to the that portion of the text, yep, it's basically saying into. There are some other commands. Cref is actually cross-reference, but of course it requires another package. Let's see if this template has this package or not. No, wow, it's kind of ugly. Cool. it has the package of cross-reference. It should be with a big F. It looks a little bit not so nice. If you don't like the reference style, or if you start getting errors, then eventually it means that this cref package was not installed again. You need to use a command up the top to install it. But in the template that I gave you, you should have it. So let me just, if you don't have it, you let me know. If you don't have it, you just use a simple ref kind of like format style. All right. So, let's go back here. So we're just gonna I'm just going to leave it as a simple reference. And if you're not happy with how it references, you just add in front of it, or you install the cref package to call it right. Use editors as well. I use Grammarly a lot. It's always active for me. You can actually set up Grammarly into like what you want, either show on text selection, either do you want to correct spelling automatically. So I really love this web browser extension. So every time that I write, as you can see, I have recommendations. Of course, some of them are for pro version. If you have access, that good, but the red ones in general are quick. You should absolutely address them. All right, so this one doesn't have label. Again, you need to add a label, and basically, let's say this is the second figure. Main results are presented in one, and the map is provided in, I say figure two. Sorry, provided in fig 2. Cool. Where is it? All right, cool. I'm saving it. Main results are presented in figure 2, and the map. Aha, because I put the same thing. Okay, let me recheck figure 2. Redo again, recompile. All right. So now fig 1. Cool. I should have everything, right? So that's basically how you insert the bibliography. How do you insert an image, a file that you generated outside into your graphical editors, or you generated via your Jupyter notebooks, and you basically insert it. So you will receive invitation to this type of kind of like a style where it should have a lot of these things already pre-built for you. The last thing that I want to say before I wrap up, oh yeah, by the way, so you will see many things, like if you want to do an itemize, you need to use this, begin itemize, end itemize. If you need to use bold, you will have specific kind of like commands like text BF, this is for bold. Let's say test for bold text example. Let me just compile it and show you how it looks like. Yeah, this one looks here. And if you want to write italic, I mean, there's always, you can find all of this one. So if you don't know, and which is normal that you don't know, you can just write latex commands, for, I have no idea. Let's say writing in bold, and then eventually you'll find that very easy. Like any command that you want, you can find it with a simple Google search. It's very, very easy to find. Um, and so on. So everything has some sort of like, if you need to insert equations, there are begin equations, end equations, and there's a specific style of writing the equations. We can talk about that, but the same LaTeX command for writing equations, and then you can actually train yourself how to write specific mathematical expressions. Let's say, for example, let's see if you write something like that, what will generate. I mean, you can play with these things, or if in general, you can use the dollar figure and write instead of them. So let me just use this kind of like dollar figure. So I'm just going to give you an example. Let's say when you want to write free flow kind of like unnumbered equations, you just write, hey, this is an example of simple equation. You just write, dollar, dollar, and inside, let's say, I want to say x squared equals to 5. So you use x to do the square. You have this little hat. Ah, all of a sudden, it even shows me what it is. That's so cool. And then eventually, you just say x5. So immediately, just on top of it, you see how the equation is going to look like. That's great. Actually, this was far from these things when we were doing our PhDs many years ago. So that's cool. All right. So when you compare that, you'll see something like this embedded in the text. But eventually, if you want like an equation like this numbered, it's like that. You begin equation, end equation, you give it a label, and inside here you write E equals mc a square. And if you want to, this is example of a simple equation, and this is a reference to a numbered equation. You basically just apply a ref to, guess what? This AQ Einstein. You save, and eventually it will give you exactly this reference. When you click on it, it's gonna jump to EMCV square. Okay, that's mainly it. I hope I covered quite a lot in this one. If I didn't, I'm happy to take extra questions. I have one more thing to say, but maybe not a lot of users have Dropbox. So let me just go back to this. So Overleaf is nicely integrated with a lot of kind of like services, like for synchronization of documents like Dropbox, GitHub. So if you use any of these ones and you want to um, synchronize locally on your PC, you can do that. So say, for example, I want to synchronize with my Dropbox. If you click that, then basically it says this project will appear in your Dropbox folder. You can see that it's an app Overleaf template. So let me just go and find it and show you how it looks like. So it's basically generates a local copy of all these files on your PC, and it's synchronized immediately with everything that is online. And that's really great, right? So I'm just going to Overleaf in Dropbox applications, and it's called template for preparing. Let me find it. All right. So I just found it. Let me show you how it looks like. So, right, template for preparing your submission. Now it's synchronized with my Dropbox. And as you can see, wow, it's basically just copied immediately everything. So I have the text that I can actually edit with Notepad, but I don't recommend it. You need a LaTeX editor. If you work locally, you need a LaTeX editor. But anyway, if you need to change quick things, but I don't recommend using with LaTeX editor if you're a beginner. Um, what is actually used for you is this kind of like synchronization of images. So here the folder of images has been created and downloaded and created in my Dropbox, and you can see both images appear here immediately. So what's happening if you want to maybe not go every time to the interface, uploading the interface of figure, blah, blah. Maybe this is hard for you. Then what you can do is just dump here all the figures that you want. And they're going to appear very fast. So let me just grab one just to show you. Basically, all right, so let's see this sketchpad. If So let's say I just uploaded here a new file, and eventually you are going to see it appearing in Dropbox. Dropbox is now going to synchronize with my online kind of like Overleaf repository. And if you go back, I'm closing this. If you go back to your Overleaf, guess what? It's here. So things are very fast. So Dropbox and Overleaf, they communicate very fast one to each other. If you can't synchronize with Dropbox, it means you might not have access due to the license and things like that. I think, yes, basically there are quite a few items that you need to take care of. Um, you can actually put a document. So sorry, let me go to text. So you can put a document in review mode. Um, I will not activate it now because you'll be probably just you writing on this one. But if there's multiple users, you can activate review mode and it's automatically synchronized among all users. That's great. You can actually share it and basically you'll see your invitation here to be editing and so on. You have a history of edits. I mean, there are many things that actually can be done, right? So you can trace down everything, right? So let's go back to the editor and so on. So that's it. I think it's a good overview of how you play with Overleaf, but again, it's a training, I think, process. Um, don't expect to find that intuitively in 1 week. My recommendation to all students is to basically start using Overleaf as soon as you can into your semester. And if you write in it week by week, you will actually be more prepared for the final report and things will go much smoother. That's it. I'll stop recording and then I'll share this video with all of you so you can read it and ask me questions afterwards.